Greetings, Terrence. It may have been a while, but we are back again with an Outpost movie review. I am Mr. Smock, your resident Vulcan Cultural Observer, and together with Mr. Raymond, our manga and anime expert for this particular title, which we'll be talking about, is Tokyo Ghoul. Thanks to the kindness of AniManGaki, we were offered premiere tickets to a special screening last night for Tokyo Ghoul. Mr. Raymond here was fairly excited. So let's delve into the world of Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul is a live-action adaptation of a manga series and anime from Japan. In the world of Tokyo Ghoul, there is a subspecies of humans called ghouls. In my analysis, they appear pretty much like zombies due to the nature of having to consume human flesh. As a result of some enzyme deficiencies, they are unable to consume normal human food. But unlike typical zombies, which say fairly mindless automations, ghouls do possess human intelligence as well as additional special abilities, which are quite distinct and unique to each particular character. What was the term that they used?
Kagune.
Kagune, and what does that mean?
Technically, Kagune is more or less it's like their blood. I'm not to say their blood cells, their cells manipulation. So ghouls have their own special organs which they can manipulate their cells to create weapon-like weapons coming out from their bodies. So you can see some of the ghouls, they have they have tails, they have tentacles. So each different ghouls have different kagunes, their own special kagunes. So it's more or less they're like mutants in a way.
Much of them seems like tentacles to me.
More or less.
And I believe tentacles have some unusual cultural connotations in Japan. We shall not go into that. But it does give them supernatural abilities and strength or speed, and of course, depending on your Kagune ability, even the ability to fire shots. So, ghouls are a hunted down subspecies because of their nature and unquenchable hunger to consume human flesh. Akin to cannibalism.
More or less, yes.
So rather than a subspecies of human cannibals, definitely detrimental to human society. Therefore, the Commission of Counter Ghoul, or CCG, was formed to hunt down and exterminate all ghouls. So, Mr. Raymond, would you like to share how this translation comes from its manga origins?
This, the whole storyline of Tokyo Ghoul in this live action, it takes place between chapter 1 to 28. So it shows like the story of the beginning of the story of Kaneki, which is the main character of the series. So it's how he transitioned from a normal human to become a half ghoul, and how he lives the life of being a half ghoul. So technically, of course, the moment when he becomes half ghoul, he has that insatiable hunger for human flesh, but at the same time, he don't want to eat humans because he's still part human. He's not a full ghoul. He's not like a pure ghoul. So that is why he's trying to struggle between his humanity and also his ghoul counterpart inside him.
In terms of disclosure, none of this should be seen as a spoiler because this is quite commonly seen in the trailers. It's just circumstances of how this transformation takes place and the resulting that perhaps we won't go into that spoiler territory. Go watch the movie. So, how about the characters, Mr. Raymond?
Okay, so we have Kaneki, who is played by MasatakaKubota, who plays also in who is quite famous for his appearance in Death Note in the live action TV series in Japan. as Raito Yagami. So he's the normal college student who got caught in between of being becoming from human into a ghoul. So he's trying to live that life of trying to be maintaining his humanity and trying to live his life as a ghoul, half ghoul. So that is the main character. He has his best friend, college mate Hide.
Also like to highlight that Kaneki. He is an unusual character because in the setting of this world, you are generally either human or you ghoul. There are no half races.
Yes.
But due to circumstances of perhaps an accident or beyond his control, which may not have been so well explained, he ended up converting into a ghoul.
Half ghoul.
And had to manage circumstances of this transition, which is no doubt very uncomfortable considering you have to start eating your friends. So shall we go on more with the ghouls? Because as I mentioned, ghouls are not mindless automations in this world. They are indeed intelligent beings and therefore have created a hidden society apart from humanity which is hunting them down. So Mr. Raymond, who are these other ghoul characters?
Okay, so the ghoul characters, they created a cafe called the Antique, and that is where all the ghouls, it's like a hidden sanctuary for them. So the main characters for the people who's working at the Antique is Mr. Yoshimura, who is the old manager over there. Toka, which is the main waitress, and also a capable fighter ghoul also as well. You have Yomo, which is considered like their acquaintance for the cafe. You have Uta, which is the mask maker, and there is a mother and daughter, Miss Ryoko and her daughter Hinami, and also the most infamous ghoul of them all is Rize. Yes, and in the manga, she's known as the binge eater. So in the movie that she mentioned that she ate too much, it's not because she ate too much of normal human food. It's because of human consumption is so high. That's why she got the nickname of binge eater Rize. So that is mostly the ghouls, the main ghouls for this movie right now.
There are quite a number of characters. Fortunately, they are not introduced all at once, and they do come in progressively, so you do not get too confused who they are, especially when they are all wearing the same uniforms.
Yeah, more or less.
In case, then there are the human characters, which sort of play the role of the antagonist to our beduffle Kaneki.
So you have the CCG, which is the Special Police Force to hunt down ghouls. So you have two main characters over there, which is Mr. Amon and his partner, which is the experienced Mr. Mado. So both of them, the CCGs, they are just only two parts of the agents of the CCGs only. So as mentioned, their job is to hunt down ghouls, and in order for them to hunt down ghouls, they have a special weaponry called the Quinque. It's a Quinque, Quinque. Yeah, so technically the Quinques are actually kagunis of dead ghouls. So once they terminated the ghouls already, their target, they will take all the kagunis from the ghoul and make them into their own specialty weapons to fight against the ghouls.
So perhaps what's not so well explained in the movie, as Mr. Raymond told me later, is that ghouls appear to be very strong and have somewhat invulnerability to normal weapons.
Yes, correct. They are actually much stronger in a way if let's say for like a normal knife, if you use a normal kitchen knife and you try to stab them, the knife will bend. Even though they try to hit them with a golf club, also get bent. By normal gun bullets, even though they get shot, they won't get hurt that easily. I mean, they will get a little bit of impact, but they will just like rub it off. They're not bulletproof, but it will not hurt them. It's mostly like, you know, like a mosquito bite for them.
And they heal very fast.
Very quickly. So any broken bones or anything, they would just manage to heal it very quickly, in a way. Like, you know, some Weapon X healing factor.
So let's say the CCG does bring out the big weapons which they carry in their suitcase, and it involves some amount of tentacles and a giant club.
Yes, that's mostly part of the, early weapons right now.
So Mr. Raymond, how would you say does this movie stand as a faithful translation of the manga and or anime?
I kind of like it enough because one thing is that, as you may notice, that mostly of the Japanese, when they do some manga or anime adaptation into live action, it doesn't work that well because they tend to take too much information. So when you watch it in the movie, sometimes they may get too boring. It's because that they have long conversations. So for Tokyo Ghoul, is that one thing I really appreciate is that they take those really important parts only, and then they make it into into a really good adaptation of the live action movie. So you don't get a lot of talking. You get a good amount of the conversations, and also a balanced amount of the action also as well, and also a bit of the scary parts of the manga itself.
So as you mentioned earlier, this movie comprises 28 chapters of the manga.
This movie, it takes from the first chapter 1 to chapter 28
which takes place under 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So by that token, does that mean there are much more scenes or further exposition that is unable to be included into this live adaptation? And is much of that actually important?
There's one of the scenes where there are some scenes where they just try to, because they require sometimes they're outside, but they just change it to make it inside instead. So it's mostly not that much impact, but as mentioned, what they did is that they take mostly the key parts only, which is important enough. So there are some scenes which is not that important. They just really okay, they can just skip it. It's not really much. It doesn't make a big impact of it.
Were the actors very well portraying their namesake characters? Say Kaneki himself, as I perhaps would rate him as a rather demure, timid young adult that finds himself in very unusual and trying circumstances. How is his portrayal of this character?
It was good because in a way because he started off as very shy, very timid kind of person. Then after that, because he's transitioning into the half ghoul, he became much more tortured in a way. So he became more tortured, and he's also trying to understand the ghoul society also as well, since he's a halfling. So mostly the actor carried out the part quite well enough. Majority of all the actresses, not only they look as good as their manga counterparts, they played their role quite well enough also as well. Especially the actresses Fumika Shimizu, who plays as Toka. She's quite nice at the same time, but towards Kaneki, she's like that tsundere character. So she's she tried to hurt him or kick him sometimes, but she actually she cares about him, but without directly showing it. In a way.
How about the translations of, shall we say, the fight scenes between ghouls and the CCG? And of course this involves fairly extensive special effects, and how was that translation from the pages of the manga to live action?
It was good. The fight scenes and all was good enough already. It was quite well choreographed. However, knowing Japan, sometimes they have the weakness of doing realistic CGI. That is mostly what I noticed about Japan's weakness, is that when they try to make a movie with CGIs, they tend to be a little bit weak in it. So when the moment where the CCGs use their weapons, and also when the ghouls use their kagunes, it looks fake. So it was not, it's not believable enough. Japan has really good it's quite technological advanced, but I don't know why their CGI is just not as good up to par with Hollywood CGI. That's the
I think
thing.
it becomes a matter of budget.
More or less lah, in a way. But
There's no 100 million to spend on a movie like this.
True. But then again, I mean, as long you know that you're doing something which, you know, that have a lot of supernatural powers with, like, you know, with those kagunes and all, you would try to do your best you can to make it look as smooth as it is lah. It doesn't look, you know when you watch it, it's fake already. You know, especially when the humans try to bring out their kagunes, it's just like, yeah, it just doesn't fit.
But kagunes aside, there are scenes of human consumption, shall we say.
Oh yeah.
And these aren't CG special effects.
Mm-hmm.
In the latest trailer that I'd watched yesterday, it very much felt like hinting towards a pseudo horror theme movie.
Yes.
But fortunately, perhaps, the movie did not actually seem to present itself that way in the screening that we attended. Perhaps there is some element of censorship as well.
Yes.
What do you think?
There was definitely censorship also as well, because of the, it's not to say over the top violence. It's because that, you know, one thing about Malaysian cinema is that they censor some parts of violence. So this part is where they have like decapitation and all. So it is definitely censored, compared to other 18 rated movies. So yeah, it's definitely censored. The horror parts of it, yeah, it's definitely, Japan is good with the horror movie kind of things and the gory parts. So that was definitely not done with any special effects or anything. That's for sure.
I think it's not necessarily so much that is pure gore. It's the thought that you are seeing ghouls eat human parts or human beings.
Yes.
Eyes and other organs, limbs and so forth, with much delight indeed. And that would send most normal viewers squeamish. Fortunately, I have a diet unlike humans, and it has no impact to my emotional resonance.
I seen worse kind of like, you know, like those cannibalism kind of like scenes, and also this was considered to be quite juvenile in a way.
Well, if we compare to the level of gore as seen in something widely popular like The Walking Dead, I think it does not compare at that level, does it?
Yes, it's not. It's very safe. It's quite safe.
Even though it is indeed rated 18 plus, so unfortunately it is not something, or fortunately it is not something for young minds to watch.
But then again, you know, anyone under 18, you can go in anyway, so yeah.
So, Mr. Raymond, how would you rate this movie, and would you recommend followers of the manga and anime to go check it out? Or how about people who know nothing of the movie like myself?
Okay, if you are, I think that they really follow the manga quite faithfully as they can. So, I mean, despite the flaw of the CGI, I like it enough.
It is one of the more faithful manga adaptations.
Correct, exactly. I mean Gintama, it has its weakness. Other translation, other adaptations have their own flaws and all. So Tokyo Ghoul stayed as faithful as they can, and it works. So it was good enough. I like it. My rating personally, I give it an 8 out of 10. For manga and anime followers, you definitely need to watch it if you are definitely a big fan. For people like Mr. Smock over here who have no knowledge or anything, if you like, if you want to like partial horror and good action movie, yes, it's something worth to go watch it if you want to. So yeah, is it cinema worthy? More or less, it's acceptable, but then again, if you are really nothing better to watch, you can go and watch it. But for normal movie goers, you will enjoy it enough, quite fair enough in a way.
For Vulcan, it was an intriguing study on on human cultural behavior. In a way, also, we talk about issues of subclasses and in a way racism. And if you look at it on the perspective of ghouls as another human species or aliens, why isn't there then any concerted effort, in fact, to help them and harness their abilities, which are quite monumental and far surpass normal humans, but in a way that we are able to accommodate their hunger for human parts, like say with synthetic organs and other methods, instead of pure extermination.
I mean, it has that how to say typical plot of, you know, this second race, they are being pushed aside because they are so dangerous and all. But this main character, he is being thrown into this world and he tried to understand them. Technically, you have that simple typical plot, but it shows that, you know, it kind of works in a way of the, like, how to say, the discrimination topic.
Yes, but it doesn't address it very much. It just plows along that ghouls must kill. There is no effort or second thought whatsoever on the human side to think about. Perhaps maybe this subspecies, hey, they are actually human. They look virtually identical as humans until they reveal their whole identities. Is there no middle ground to work things out and live together? None of that was addressed. Perhaps it does later in the manga.
Yes, it does.
Not at this point.
Yes. So I mean, I believe it has a potential to have a sequel. It's definitely have a potential to have a sequel compared to other adaptations. So we will definitely see more. We will definitely see, if they have a sequel, we'll definitely see more on the, how to say, the how they try to make the ghouls and human into a understanding society in a way.
Tokyo Ghoul will be showing in cinemas 5th October onwards. Check them out at your nearest TGV cinemas. You may use the website or the app to find the current screening times. Please note that this movie is rated for 18 and above, so please do not bring your children and about, which may harm their minds with these disturbing scenes. So to all ghouls out there, eat long and prosper, but please check your diet. I'm sure there are other alternatives to consume your fellow human beings, but, well, that's for the next chapter. Stay tuned for our next review, which will be return of a long-awaited sci-fi franchise in the next 2 days.